Hello and welcome to another episode of the Red Zone, and we are now into the second half of the regular season schedule. As that page turns and summer turns to fall, there was no change this weekend for the North Central Cardinals football team as they dispatched Elmhurst University 77-7 to improve to 6-0 and 5-0 in the CCIW. Coming up, I'm joined as always by head coach Jeff Thorne, and this week my player guests are seniors Corey Blair and Dakota Cremines. Plus, we shine a light on another senior, Andrew Kaminski, as he breaks records in front of particularly interested spectators in his final college season. But first, as always, we begin with the highlights from the Cardinals' most recent victory. We get right into the action, and after a bit of a slow start, the Cardinals' offense is handed a gift as Elmhurst punter Ryan Brenner can't handle the snap, and on the very next play, Luke Lanin fakes out the defense and the camera to give North Central a 7-0 lead midway through the first quarter. Terrence Hill was the decoy on this occasion, but his time would come. Elmhurst back on offense, and the North Central defense with its first highlight reel play as Dan Gilroy bursts into the backfield and brings down Elmhurst QB Noah Henkel for a loss of 11 yards, and the Blue Jays would punt. At this point, the Cardinals offense started to roll, and Lanin finds Andrew Kaminski, who punctuates this touchdown with a stiff arm to go in for the score and double the lead, 14-0 North Central. Take another look, the All-American dishing out the hit on this occasion. Next Cardinals drive and the passing game strikes again. Lanin rolls left, but then bombs one back right to a wide-open Corey Blair for another score. Blair led all Cardinal receivers on the night with 68 yards on 3 catches. Elmhurst looking to not let things get away from them, but Henkel is picked off by D'Angelo Roberson. The senior cuts off the route for his first takeaway of the season. Here's Terrence Hill filling in for Greenfield with his first score of the night, a 15-yard touchdown run to make it 28-0. Next drive, more Hill, this time capping off a 12-play, 79-yard drive with this 3-yard score. A big night for the junior, and it was only still getting started. Here he is scoring through the air as he hauls in this pass out of the backfield from Lanin and gets himself an easy touchdown, 87 total yards and 3 scores for the junior running back. Meanwhile, the defense just did not let up. Here's Dakota Cremines darting in for a forced fumble and a sack. 5 sacks for the defense on the night. Lanin's final pass of the night came on the first play of the next series. He finds Jacob Parody for the score, 272 yards and 5 total touchdowns for the freshman quarterback. In relief, here comes Jake Johnson, who on this QB read takes it in for 6. That made it a 56-0 lead late in the third quarter. This was a game where the Cardinals really flexed their running back depth. Here's Justin Lynch sprinting down the sideline away from would-be tacklers for a 54-yard touchdown. Then watches Darius Bird somehow navigate this flock of Blue Jay defenders to find his way in for 6, 37 yards, and 70 points. But the longest touchdown run of the night belonged to Jake Johnson, 63 yards on the QB keeper all the way to the house. Johnson had only 3 rushing attempts, but made the most of them with his 2 scores. The sideline is pumped, and why not? They should be. The Cardinals are 6-0 with a 77-7 win at home over Elmhurst. Now that we've seen how the Cardinals executed another dominant win, it's time to talk it over and look ahead as we do each week with Cardinals head coach Jeff Thorne. Coach, thanks as always for being here.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
So Saturday we saw some new contributors. We saw Corey Blair score his first touchdown of the season. Jacob Parody get his first touchdown. This season you've had 8 different rushers and 8 different receivers score touchdowns. What does that say not only about the depth of talent you've got, but the next man up mentality of this roster?
I think it says a lot about that. We work hard in recruiting. Depth is extremely important because you just never know, how each season is going to play out, who's going to get injured at what point, and you need to make sure you've got quality depth. And I think Corey Blair is a shining example of that. I mean, he'd start for any other team in our conference, but when his number's called, he's ready to go and has made some monstrous plays for us over the last few years. One of the biggest plays in the Mount Union game in 2019 was Corey Blair. So it was fun to see him get in the end zone. and he's been improving almost every single practice as we've gone about these last several weeks, so it's been really encouraging.
Standing on the sidelines for this game, one of the coolest things to watch was after every score, after every big play, offense or defense, the first two guys off that sideline yelling and screaming are Andrew Kaminski and Ethan Greenfield.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean to you to see those guys, basically saying, okay, tonight we're the motivators in chief, we're the hype men on the sideline?
I think that's a window into Cardinal football, is what that is. I mean, last year 2019, I say last year all the time. 2019, that was the hallmark of our program. It's guys pulling for each other and genuinely being excited for somebody else's success rather than just their own. And it really played out even in the 2021 spring season. We've got these new freshmen here, and one guy in particular, every time he'd score a touchdown in practice, you'd see our whole receiving corps on film running to the end zone to go meet him. A young guy that hasn't had a chance to get playing time yet, but everybody was super excited for him having success, and that's just kind of the culture that exists at North Central.
The first two drives, not the way you would have wanted to start the game. I think the word you used with me at halftime was sloppy.
Yeah.
What happened between drive 2 and drive 3 that allowed you to clean it up and then all systems go from there?
Well, I think we got a turnover deep in their territory, and Luke pulled a zone read and walked into the end zone. And then we kind of got our feet underneath ourselves offensively. Defensively, we were really, really good from the jump. So that's been the theme 2 weeks in a row. Our defense is playing fantastic football. That's what I expected from this group. It's a really veteran group on defense. You're going to get a chance to talk to Dakota, who's one of those leaders. But just really, really pleased with the way the defense is playing week in and week out right now.
After the last game where there was only one sack against Carroll, both you and all the defenders I talked to said, yeah, we think we did okay pressuring, but we want more sacks. Mm-hmm. They did that this weekend, 5 more.
Yeah.
Dakota got one of them. Mm-hmm. What are you seeing in the week leading up to, how do you see that goal, that stated goal by your defense, worked on and then executed in game?
I don't think there's a harder working group on our team than our defensive line. Coach Janasek is really a motivator. He's a tactician. He's demanding, and those players respond to him. So week in and week out, they're working on their technique, working on their pass rush moves, the combinations, and the stunts that we have in for that week. And you're seeing that play out on Saturdays. They're getting home, and we're going to need to see that continue going forward.
Lots of big touchdowns, both in impressiveness and yardage on Saturday night. But the longest touchdown went to backup quarterback Jake Johnson, 70-some yard run. Mm-hmm. What have you seen from him now? As he's the oldest guy in that quarterback room now,
right.
But he is still kind of in that second role now behind Luke rather than Brock. What have you seen from him both on and off the field, continuing to be a leader despite the fact that he's not the star of the show? He still works just as hard.
Yeah, he's always prepared. We quiz our quarterbacks every Friday on the game plan, and Jake's comes back 100% week in and week out. So he puts the time in. It matters to him. He unbelievably supportive of Luke, just as he was with Brock, and one of the most well-liked players on the team. It's been nothing short of a pleasure to coach Jake and watch him improve. Really, where he's come from his freshman year is remarkable. But it's fun to see him out there because he's really athletic. So when he pulls that ball on zone read and takes off, he's had some monster runs over the past couple of years, and it's fun to see that take place Saturday night too, and see him get rewarded getting into the end zone too.
I know it was discussed on the broadcast. Was that his longest ever run? They had to go into the record books.
Probably. He had one against Elmhurst last year that was close.
See, we had to go back and look that up mid-game.
Yeah.
Looking forward to this weekend, you've won 10 straight over Illinois Wesleyan, 16 of 17, but they still lead the all-time series because of past successes they had.
Yeah.
Is this one of those matchups that you kind of mirrors the way that this program has developed, evolved, and improved over the last decade plus?
Yeah, when my father took over in 2002, they had beaten North Central 15 times in a row. They beat us our first year, then we beat them the next year, and they've only beaten us once since, so that's been a pretty significant development. That was one of the programs that, year in and year out was competing for conference championships. And really, they still do. They're a little bit down this year from how they started the season at 2-4 right now. But historically, they've been a very, very strong conference. Coach Esch, I think, is the winningest coach in CCIW history. So that, speaks volumes about what he's been able to do there.
It is Check the Tape time once again. We're going to look at some film from this past week as the Cardinals defeated Elmhurst University. And Coach, we've talked about Corey Blair already on this episode. We're going to start with what I just think is a really great play from start to finish. It's Corey's touchdown catch. And there's a lot of pieces to this, and it starts with some good offensive line and Luke just keeping his head up.
Yeah, the guys did a great job. We got a little bit of penetration there. Luke's patience on the play, movement to find space, and then flipping and finding Corey there, working up the other side of the field. Great throw. Great job by Corey of really selling the route and then finishing it with the catch.
Next up, Terrence Hill had himself a heck of a second quarter. 3 total touchdowns. He really had his chance to shine in this game.
Yeah, with Ethan down, Terrence got his shot as our starter, did a great job. Shows great patience there, getting the end zone. The first one showed his burst. And here just kind of shows his versatility. He's great out of the backfield as a running back catching the football. I hate to think how many touchdowns he has catching the ball in his last couple of years, but I think it's 6-7 times. So great player.
Definitely a threat from there. Speaking of threats out of the backfield, you've got a lot of fast players on this team. Justin Lynch put on a pretty good audition for saying he might be the fastest with his touchdown run, just absolutely sprinting down the sidelines.
That was fun to watch. He and the other freshman, Joe Sacco, 24, I think if we put them together, they'd be neck and neck. So great to see Justin get an opportunity to really open it up a little bit and show that speed. Great job by the offensive line, giving him an opportunity to do that.
And we do have one extra bonus play on Check the Tape this week, and this one doesn't really need an introduction. We're just going to roll the tape, and I just want your thoughts on it.
Oh, yeah, this was fun. This was fun. Great throw by Tyler Hunt. Great story there.
And they somehow ruled this incomplete initially. I was looking for an angle where they gave us a better look at it, but you know, Peyton's done a lot of good things on the field this week, but that catch might just be the play of the season so far for the Spartans.
That was fun. That got me off the couch in the house. It was definitely a fun one to watch.
And we'll look forward to being back under the lights at Benedetti Worley on Saturday night, taking on Illinois Wesleyan. Best of luck, Coach, and thanks as always for the time.
Thanks, Alex.
Opportunity is everywhere. It is in everything and within everyone. Your opportunity is at the center of all that we do, so that you can exceed your personal best.
Welcome back to the Red Zone. As always, it's time to be joined by a couple of the stars from this week's win. I'm joined by a receiver who got his first touchdown of the season and a DB who got his first career sack, fellow seniors Corey Blair and Dakota Cremines. Guys, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
So, Corey, I mentioned that you got your first receiving touchdown. Jacob Parody gets his first receiving touchdown. What did Saturday night's performance show about the depth of talent you guys have going in that wide receiver group?
Yeah, I think, our depth is crazy. We have a bunch of guys that can step up whenever their name's called and make plays. So I think it's, very nice to see, especially with the young guy too. It's very nice to see.
And then Dakota, we see the team go nuts for a lot of reasons when certain guys do something. One of those moments was on Saturday when you get that first ever sack. Whole sideline, whole defense is going crazy. What was that moment like for you?
It just kind of happened so fast. I didn't even realize it was a sack until I looked to the sideline and realized it was like 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And I don't know, just kind of like another play. I didn't really think much of it. So it was third down after that, so we had to get ready for the next play.
Last week on the show, I asked Coach if there had been new leaders stepping up on the team, and he said not really, because there's such a strong existing group of leaders. As seniors, you guys are both in that, in that category. What's been your message within your respective position groups this season, particularly to the younger guys?
I guess just, always being ready. For the young guys, I think that's super important. For me, they see me as, always being ready, whenever my name's called. I have to step up and make plays. So hopefully they see that and they can, reciprocate that and do the same thing.
And I would say for the DB group, really just telling the younger guys to take advantage of every practice and get as much mental reps as they can. We were a very veteran group and they know that. But at the same time, they have to be ready because anything can happen at any moment. And so just be ready if their number's called, and then just really, learn by example, really watch us older guys because we've been through the program. We know how things are done. We know how their culture works. And so really just trying to be a good example for them for their future careers here.
Later in the show, viewers will see on this week's Cardinal Corner that Andrew's wearing a North Central football t-shirt that says just have fun on the front of it with the Cardinals logo. For each of you, I know the entire team takes every practice, every game very seriously. How do you guys each try to balance that seriousness with remembering this is a game that you're supposed to have fun playing?
Yeah, I think that's super important. Always remembering just to have fun. Actually, one of our Rory, one of the receivers in our group, that's his brand, that's his clothing brand, and he hands it out to us, and I think it's a good way to remember. That's what's important, just having fun. Because if you're not having fun, then everything becomes a lot harder. So.
And I would say just knowing that this is our last year of football for most of us, just taking advantage of every practice, every rep, chatting at the water, with the guys, everything you appreciate a little bit more knowing this is your last ride. And so having that perspective coming into the season has made things more enjoyable. Not that it wasn't before, but just more appreciative of, the time we have together.
You mentioned there's a lot of guys back from that 2019 team. That team was very good. Obviously, this team is very good. But for you guys, what makes the 2021 version of the North Central Cardinals unique? What makes this group special?
I think, honestly, having to deal with the COVID, situation. Last year we didn't, get to play. So I feel like that brought, a different kind of hunger to us. And yeah, I would say the COVID last year.
I would say that the COVID definitely has an effect on it. Being able to be a team and be around each other, but not have the pressures of a season or all those things that come with having a real season. So getting the downtime to get to know each other and really grow as a team off the field before you step on the field together. And then I would also say defensively, at least, we're a much more veteran group this year. And so that's just something that's been really special to be a part of. And, I'm really excited to see what the rest of the season has for us.
So guys, as always, we're going to finish up with you with some quick hits, some fun questions, try to get to know you guys a little bit more. Although this first question might be about getting to know your teammates, because I want to start with, what is the most interesting talent that somebody on the team has?
I would say Matt Metz is a great singer.
Matt Metz is a great singer. Okay,
Yep.
Definitely bringing him up to that. Got to get him on the show just to get him to sing.
Yep.
I would say, you might not think it's a talent, but Cole Griffin has the best fashion on the team by far, and it really is a talent if you see some of the things he wears. So that's definitely, if you know him, everybody knows about it, but if you don't know him, if you only see him in shoulder pads, you might not guess it, but that guy's got style.
And we saw him make a pretty big hit last week, too, so he's got a few talents. Next one, and this is an annual tradition here on the show, and we're going to do this week and next week for the guests. Each of you, what is the best Halloween costume you've ever had?
Growing up, I've always been a Power Rangers fan, so probably the red Power Ranger. It's probably my favorite one.
Should bring out, if you still got the helmet, you should bring that out for
I
warm-ups or
should,
something
yeah.
next week.
In practice, yep.
So lame. Growing up, I loved Army stuff. I had my aunt paint my whole room camouflage, by hand, and I had a whole military crate. I even had military food, packaged spaghetti I ate one day. I do remember that. But I was an Army soldier one year, face painted, just camoed out with the vest, the boots, and I was crawling around in hay barrels just thinking I was in war. And I don't know, that was probably the most memorable.
But hey, going out of your way to eat MREs, that's really showing the commitment to that bit.
Yeah.
All right, finally, guys, this week, best pizza. And you can take this as vague as you want. Where from, style, toppings, controversial opinions. What do you got?
I wouldn't say I'm the biggest pizza fan, but if I had to pick one, I would say Home Run Inn, frozen pizza. Meat lovers.
I would say, my sister took me to New York before Christmas 2 years ago. We went to Brooklyn, and there was a place called DeFara's Pizza, and it's a little hole in the wall. It took you 45 minutes to get one slice of pizza, and it was the best pizza I've ever had in my life. I would do it again in a heartbeat, but you know, it's so far away, so obviously I might not ever have it again, but by far the best.
But hey, good advertising for anybody listening who's going to New York anytime soon.
There you go, yeah.
Well, guys, thanks as always for taking the time. Really appreciate it, and best of luck against Wesleyan this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay in the know at home or on the go with NCTV 17 News Update. This quick recap of everything happening in and around town will be delivered straight to your email inbox for free. Sign up today.
Andrew Kaminski wasn't originally even supposed to be here. It sounds crazy now, given how synonymous the senior wide receiver has become with Cardinals football. But having initially accepted a scholarship to Division II Winona State, he realized it didn't feel like home. However, from the moment he set foot on campus, North Central has always felt like where he belonged.
Kind of just a blessing in disguise, telling me this is where I should have been all along. It felt like home. It's close to home. I could be around all my family, still support all my friends that are still close to home. So it was just really a no-brainer for me.
He's a throwback. He's one of those guys that you don't have to motivate Andrew. It's internal with him. You don't worry about toughness from a mental standpoint, from a physical standpoint, all the things you look for in a football player. Andrew's got it, and he can pull it up on demand. And when the moment is at its biggest, Andrew's the guy that's going to show up, and it's been that way since he was a freshman with us.
Having played both receiver and defensive back at South Elgin High School, the coaching staff initially planned to use Kaminski to cover passes, not catch them. But a bit of an injury crisis presented an opportunity, and in his first season, he led the team in receptions. 4 years later, he holds the conference record for receptions, has 52 receiving touchdowns, and has been instrumental in the Cardinals becoming the nation's top D3 program.
That's why you do this. That's why you coach. You coach to help improve the lives of the young men that you're coaching on and off the field. And certainly he's a great kid. He's got stuff right off the field and on the field, just seeing him improve. So I think seeing his growth in understanding football, understanding defenses. He's just at such a high level that we're able to do so many different things with him and make adjustments in game, make adjustments weekly to our base stuff that puts him in a position to succeed.
Yeah, I feel like I've played a big role in that, but it's not just me. There's 100 other players on the team that have adapted to our new standard, have adapted to the new way of doing things here at North Central, and that's what we're continuing to get them up to speed, and hopefully that when we're all gone, that the next class up, it's the same thing from here on out, and North Central can just maintain at the top.
While his talent was immediately obvious to North Central's coaches and fans, his Division III record 31 touchdown catches in 2019 drew the attention of a new crowd, NFL scouts. For Kaminski, that attention is validation of not just a couple years, but a lifetime of hard work.
I'm not going to sit here and say I was surprised because of my numbers last year, but it's just a great feeling for me knowing that all the hard work I've put in and all the stuff that I've done behind the scenes that nobody knows about, all the personal stuff that I've dealt with, and just having that as like not necessarily reassurance, but to know that that opportunity could be awaiting for me at the end of this year is just a dream come true. I've been doing everything since I started playing the game at first grade. I was 7 years old, so everything I've done since then has been able to set myself up for an opportunity to continue playing after college.
In terms of playing at the next level, I think it's any young man's dream coming into college to do that, but you don't necessarily expect it. After his junior year, he started receiving quite a bit of attention from some of those scouts from the different organizations, and that's only grown. He came back to win a national championship. He didn't come back to put himself in a position to play more football after this. That's just sort of become a byproduct of it.
Whether in a few weeks, or hopefully on December 17th in Canton, Ohio at the Pro Football Hall of Fame for this year's Stag Bowl, Kaminski will soon have to say goodbye to Cardinals football. He'll of course miss the games, but said he'll miss the time with his teammates off the field even more. He'll also miss the men who he credits with helping him become both the player and person he'll be when he does leave North Central.
Another big thing, I'm going to miss the coaching staff. These guys have been like fathers to me since I've been here. They've opened me with open arms. I go into their office. I'm probably in the office more than anybody that they have right now. I have just a special bond with them, so North Central is going to be in my heart no matter what for the rest of my life.
I wish I could coach him the rest of my life, to be honest with you. He's just such a great young man.
You know, Andrew's a special player. He's a special guy. We've got a pretty cool relationship, and you know, I'll always remember him. So I want to make sure we're cherishing every day that we have with him, both practices and games, the rest of the way. He's the cheerleader when he's not on the field. I mean, that's not typical for your superstar players. He's just a special guy and great ambassador for Cardinal football.
I just want to be known as the guy who came out and did his job every day, everything. He was a good leader. I want to be known as the guy who left his heart on the field, does everything for the team, a team-first guy. Just do everything the right way, and good things happen. You know, there's so many opportunities, there's so many different things out there where people do and they take advantage of an opportunity or they destroy an opportunity. So I just want everybody to remember that I took advantage of every opportunity I've had. I worked for everything that I have, and hard work will beat talent when talent fails to work hard.
It's time for this week's Red Zone play of the game. Freshman quarterback Luke Lanin on a quick play-action pass found senior Andrew Kaminski over the middle, and here's what earned him yet another play of the game nod, this stiff arm right into the face mask of the Blue Jays defender to score his 52nd career receiving touchdown. Worth another look as the defender thinks he's about to make a touchdown-saving tackle, but Kaminski keeps him at arm's length for the score. And that was this week's Red Zone play of the game. And that is all we've got for you on the Red Zone this week. Thanks as always to Coach Jeff Thorne and to Corey and Dakota for coming on this week's show, and to Andrew as well for taking the time. The Cardinals are at home again this weekend, which means they're on NCTV 17 again this weekend. Kickoff against the Illinois Wesleyan University Titans is set for 6 p.m. and we'll have pregame coverage starting at 5:45, both on Channel 17 in Naperville and on nctv17.com. I'll see you then from the sidelines, but for now, I'm Alex Campbell, and thanks for watching.